Warning! You're watching Dr. Todd Lee TV, where theoretically you could learn a bunch of cool shit. Master or slave, entrepreneurial or employee mindset. My name is Todd Lee. I'm a medical doctor, an IFBB Pro bodybuilder, and biochemist, although I am also trained in psychology. I've done psychotherapy and I've done psychiatry. So I'm familiar with psychology, and people have had a lot of requests for some more psychology videos, specifically this video, a video I did 7 years ago. And it is time for a redo. That I've been a bit more successful in the past 7 years than 7 years ago when I first shot this. It'll be a lot less spastic and hopefully it'll be on point. So why do I call it master or slave first, right? Well, it's a throwback to Friedrich Nietzsche, right? Depending on who you ask. So let's go back to 1999 when I was an undergrad at the University of Michigan, and we were in a psychology class. And there was a bunch of desks in this class between the east and the west wall, all the way facing north, all the way to the back. There was a door in the northeast corner, and the blackboard, yes, a blackboard, not a dry erase board, was on the north wall. The teacher's desk was basically facing south by the north wall. And there was one lone desk in the northwest corner away from all the other desks, but parallel to the teacher's desk, small like the other students' desks, facing directly the teacher's desk, not the other students. And we've been in class for a while, and the teacher said, Friedrich Nietzsche had one core philosophy that is really important. And she said that he believes that people are either masters or slaves. And I cannot make this up. One girl actually asked, how do you know if you're a master or a slave? And I spit out, without even thinking, if you have to ask, you're a slave. And she went, that is exactly true. Didn't even have to look at me. And all the students turned and looked, and they realized I wasn't sitting with them. I was sitting at the teacher's level. So probably up until that point, they thought I'm a dork, or I'm a loser, or I'm weird because I sit away from the crowd. And then they realized all at once, probably because most of them were thinking the same thing, am I a master or a slave? That there's some people that are just born different. And those people are the ones who tend to be entrepreneurial rather than employees. So according to Dr. Jordan Peterson, there's two things that matter in being successful in life. You can either have a high IQ and have conscientiousness, which makes you a good employee, or you can have a high IQ and have high trait openness, and that would make you a good entrepreneur. So are you a visionary, or are you somebody who likes to be told what to do? And we all saw in 2020 and 2021, lots of motherfuckers like to be told what to do. That there's an old expression, if you were told to jump off of a bridge, would you do it? Most people would. My job in life as a doctor is basically to protect these lemmings called humans from destroying themselves. I'm basically trying to protect people from doing sporadic injections, but they do it anyway. They do every other day or every 3 days because they're slaves. They're sheep. They do what they're told and they want to fit in. If everyone was doing daily injections, they would do daily injections. But because everyone isn't doing daily injections, they don't do daily injections. If I'm the only guy who says it, even if I'm the most educated person in the world at this confluence of science, where I'm the only biochemist, medical doctor, IFBB Pro in the world, I am the most credible person. I'm the most qualified to give advice on how to use steroids because I'm the one person who's saying daily injections are the only way. Everyone else goes with the herd because they're slaves. And that's what I'm trying to explain, is that to follow the herd, to do what everyone else is doing, is enslaving yourself to the security that's provided by fitting in. I think it was Benjamin Franklin said that people would rather choose security than freedom. And I've always said I'd rather be king of a swamp than a slave in a palace. That freedom, the choice to do whatever I want, whenever I want, however the fuck I want, is always going to be more important to me than getting approval from people that I don't look up to. That whether, how many teachers told me I'd never amount to anything because I had bad penmanship? I'm a doctor. They're dead. And the penmanship obviously doesn't matter because we use keyboards now, or we dictate to AI to do stuff. And none of those things were invented by slaves. Elon Musk is a good example of a master. He owns several businesses. And here's another way to look at it. Do you write a paycheck or do you get paychecks? Do you earn money? Do you make money or do you earn a paycheck? So those of you who have jobs where you're out doing sales or you own your own business and you're hustling to make money, like Gary Vee says, that's a master, because you get to choose your future. You choose everything. You choose who your vendors are. You choose your font. You choose this, you choose that. And if you don't know how to do something, you hire employees to do it for you because they're better than you. That a good master surrounds himself with smarter people who knows what their field better than he does. You can't know everything. You can't be a master at every category all at once. But you can surround yourself with people who are smarter than you at given things or more knowledgeable than you at given things. And you can employ them and then have them do things for you. You have the vision. You're calling the shot. You're like, I want it to look like this. And then the artist draws it and you're like, I like it, but I want it darker and more aggressive. And then they do it again and you're like, it's not dark enough. Can we put some skulls in there or pools of blood? And they're like, but you're trying to sell healthcare. I was like, so you can't do it? And then they'll be like, yeah, we can do it. And that's the thing, is you have to have a vision. And that doesn't mean your vision's always right, but you know what you want, and and you have to take measures to get it. So you have a vision, you make a plan, you execute a plan. I talk about this in the confidence versus arrogance video, that if you haven't seen that video, pause this, go back, watch that. This will all make sense. But you can't manifest your will into reality unless you believe with 100% that you are right and you will succeed. You have to believe with 100% certainty you are right and you will succeed. And that's like one of the reasons why I chose to not work for a hospital, because a hospital, you're an employee. You're a slave to the hospital. The hospital tells you what to do. You're allowed to order these tests, but not these tests, because the insurance companies won't pay for them. And you're allowed to do this, but not that, because the nurses who run the nurses and accountants, or the nuns and the accountants, depending if it's a Catholic hospital, who run the board of directors, dictate hospital policy. And you have to fit in. That being an employee means you have to have certain words you're not allowed to say, that you have to appropriately gender people. Not if you're a master. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But if you're going to be a master, you better be talented enough to have a product or a service that's competitive in a market that provide something that no one else can provide, or you can provide it better and cheaper than anyone else. Otherwise, you're just unemployable. So there's a big difference between being a master and being just unemployable. And as I mentioned before, it's IQ. So IQ plus openness equals entrepreneur. IQ plus conscientiousness equals employable. Low IQ plus openness is you're basically a starving artist. Low IQ plus conscientiousness means you're basically just a sheep. I mean, it would be great if you were open and conscientious. A good example of that would be Elon Musk, is that he's got a high IQ. He's super good at creativity and vision, but he also works like a dog. But if you can pick 2 out of the 3, I'm going to pick IQ and openness every time. The ability to always be able to be creative and coming up with new ideas and think outside the box and challenge the establishment. And that will help create carving a niche into an existing market that you can fill that niche and that no one else can fill. For example, all the sheep like to use propionate because the other sheep use propionate. There's no logic to it. They just do it because they're sheep. The sheep like to use sustanon because the other sheep use sustanon. There's no logic to it. They just do it because everyone else does it. They don't understand it. All the sheep want to use a hypodermic needle and measure in cc's because the other sheep do it and they want to fit in with the sheep. They don't want to be scientific or logical and use the smart method of using an insulin syringe and going in the muscle. They want to do whatever the other sheep are doing. That this is what I was told, so I do what I'm told. That's what they think. They never think, does this make sense? Is this the best way? Is there a better way? And you're going to say, but Todd, that's why they hired a coach or a doctor to tell them what to do. Is that you said surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Just because someone's a coach or a doctor doesn't make them smarter than you. That they sold you on the idea that they're smarter than you. But are they? Are they actually? Do you study what they teach? So what I do is, if I hired some guy to change my tire, if I call a tow truck to change my tire, I'd watch how he changed the tire and ask him questions. Like, oh, how come you went 1, 3, 2, 5, 4 with the lug nuts? And oh, it's so that the wheel has even distribution. Oh, okay. Why did you use my car's jack, not a generic jack? Oh, because not every frame is supported by every jack, but the manufacturer gives you the jack that's supported, that's perfect for your frame. Oh, okay. I never have to have someone change my tire again. I just learned the 2 pieces of information that I wouldn't have intuited. So I would intuit my way through things and I'll fuck it up sometimes. But then if I instead, the first time, hire an expert and then watch them and ask them questions when I see counterintuitive behavior, then I get to learn the tricks. Everything's easier with tricks. So every profession has experts, and these experts are basically technicians, and they're doing things on rote with a bunch of tricks. And so on my channel, I teach about the tricks all the time. If your AST and ALT are elevated and your doctor tells you that your liver is failing, and then you come back 3 days later and they're normal because you stopped hitting legs, and then your liver's fine, and he's like, oh, that's weird. Your liver's not failing anymore. Huh. It's because he's an idiot. That obviously you didn't have liver disease in the first place. He misdiagnosed you. That you just train legs. And he doesn't know what the fuck training is because he's a little bitch. And that's basically how it is. So the trick is you order the GGT with the ALT and the AST, and then you now have this trick that if the GGT is high and the ALT and AST are high, then you have liver disease. If the ALT and AST are high, but the GGT is low, then you have damage to the muscle tissue because your volume's too high. Or existing. You have existing volume. Whether it's too high or not, it's debatable. If your GGT is high, but your AST and ALT are normal, then probably there's some other things that are high too, and it's from chronic inflammation. These are tricks. These are tricks that I'm teaching you. These are tricks you can learn if you watch the Blood Work for Dummies video. And that's what this channel is for. If you want to learn all the tricks to your body, so you have perfect and complete control of your body all the time, and you don't really need doctors anymore, for the most part. There are exceptions like car accidents, stabbings, cancer, getting hit with a flamethrower, falling out of a building. You know, if you don't have to rush to the ER, you're going to die. You probably don't need to see a doctor. You can just look it up or get a consult with me. But anyway, go to the most important shit playlist. That's going to have everything else. Everything that like this, that's in the psychology playlist. But the most important shit playlist is the most important shit. Everything you need to know about blood work, training, nutrition, and anabolic pharmacology. That's like your basic high school level education before you get to the real anabolic university. Now, I'm going to go over this from the top because it may not have been clear at first. Lucifer said in Milton's Paradise Lost, it's better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. I soften this with, I'd rather be king of the swamp than prince in a palace. I mean, than a slave in a palace. That my freedom is more important to me than any amount of wealth. And so I'm not afraid to fail, but I'm terrified of being a slave. That anytime I see everyone doing something, I know it's wrong. Like, I know it's wrong because I look at humans as being so stupid, they're always going to be doing it wrong. So whatever the common way of doing it is, I know that that's not the right way. It might be the safest, or it might be an inefficient way that works in a non-dangerous way for incredibly stupid people. Like stop signs at night. If it's the middle of the night and there's no cars, why the fuck would you stop? Because it's the law. So the rules are there to keep incredibly stupid people from hurting other people. So I think outside the box. I think outside the box when it comes to medicine and everything else in life, in business. And a lot of times when I hire experts to tell me what's right and what's wrong, because I don't know it as well as they do, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. Well, you're the expert. We'll try it that way. And then it turns out it doesn't work. And that my way, although the unconventional way and the intuitive way actually did work and was the right way. And over the past 15 years of making these videos, I've seen a lot of my common things that I figured out have become pretty standard, have been standard practice. That there's certain people who think they're so smart with their exercise physiology that I'll tell you that squatting first is more important because you want to hit your body with the heaviest exercise that require the most skill when you're most fresh and neurologically active. Anybody who has any muscle at all is going to tear their knees to pieces if they squat with cold knees. So all the pro bodybuilders, and I mean all the pro bodybuilders, do leg curls, then leg extensions, or just leg extensions before they do their pressing movements to get some blood flow to the knees so they create some synovial fluid. There's these tricks of the trade that the pros know that the dweeby little scientists don't want to accept. And they make their videos and you guys might watch them. And that's what you have a herd of sheep, that you've got medium-sized people that are going to stay medium forever because they're listening to medium-sized doctors, but they're not real doctors. They're PhDs of exercise physiology. So they don't know how to lift. They just study people who don't know how to lift. So you got people who don't know how to lift making up theoretical studies to do on other people that don't know how to lift. And then their test subjects are people who have never lifted. And then you, who supposedly lift on a regular basis for 20 or 30 years, are supposed to change what you do to accommodate what these studies. And a lot of the scientists will tell you, like, you're not supposed to change what you do based on our studies. We're just collecting data. And then we analyze the data. And then we tell you the results of the data. And then the implication is that the data is sound. And then someone like me tries it and body parts get smaller. And it's like, well, This is a bunch of bullshit. So where is this video going? The video is basically trying to teach people that owning your own business and being a boss is better than being an employee. But not everyone's smart enough to run their own business or has the creative vision to carve out a slice of a market for themselves and fill a niche when no one else is filling. Because if you're going to go into an existing market where it's already saturated with competition, you have to outperform and undercharge, which is a lot of fucking work. So if you don't think like that, if you don't think outside the box, you're not going to come up with new markets or carve out new niches in existing markets or figure out how to increase the efficiency or decrease the costs of production of certain products or streamline the service. If that isn't how you think, if optimization isn't your way, if I'm going to do what everyone else is doing because it's safe, then you should go to college, get a degree in lesbian finger painting, and then go be a human resources person and never say anything that is out of line. And you get to sit in your little dungeon in the basement and collect your $50,000 a year and then basically survive scraping by. That you will have been a slave, that you will have accrued debt with insurmountable student loans so that you are forced to work for whatever job you can get just to pay back the student loans. So you will be a slave to the corporation to pay back the university that lent you the money through the government so that you will be earning money, paying taxes, and supporting the empire until you're sick enough to where they can milk every penny you have from you for medications and profit off of your disease and manage your disease until your end of life, where you're worth 2 million the last 2 years before you die. Like the Matrix, but you don't know you're in the Matrix. That's the world we live in. That's the healthcare system. That's the government, while run by the previous administration. Now we have a new administration and we have real leaders like Elon Musk who are real visionaries and innovators. And dare I say, the guy in the Oval Office is a pretty good example of a master, is that every single field he chose to go into, he dominated. Now, he did inherit money. And America is that special place where people can come from anywhere, whether it's Iran or India or in previous generations, Ireland, Italy, and they could come from a very poor place and become very rich through very hard work. Whereas a lot of people in Britain, they see rich people as being beneath them because the upper class people are only upper class because they're born into money. In America, everyone's nouveau rich. There's nobody that comes from money here. So everybody who has anything is because they earned it, and they didn't earn it by hard work. They earned it with creativity. So my overall suggestion, if you want to step outside of your slavery, if you want to throw off your shackles and not pick up a whip, but lead other people out of slavery, is while you still have your wage slave job, while you're still earning a paycheck, have a side hustle where you're making money. Gary Vee is great for this. So is Tony Robbins. And then if you're going to manage people, I suggest you read Earl Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are extremely important books. If you need motivation on how to be an independent person and not be a slave, Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead would be the best choice. So between Ayn Rand, Friedrich Nietzsche, Dale Carnegie, Robert Kawasaki, that's pretty much what you need as your starting four corners of education for throwing off the chains of slavery, because you're a mental slave. If you wore a mask, if you took the shot, you're a mental slave. You've been enslaved and you didn't know it. Benjamin Franklin said, people would rather be secure than free. So if you did what you were told because you thought you believed in authority figures and you think authority figures have what your best interest at heart and you'll be safe as long as you do what you're told, then you basically have a communist mindset. And we need to shadow that. Capitalism isn't evil in the sense that if everyone's working their hardest to make the best fucking product and be as efficient as possible, then things just get better over time. If you're taught that no matter what you do, you're going to get paid the same minimum wage and you'll never leave poverty, so there's no point in ever becoming a doctor or an engineer, and everybody just ends up working as cashiers and waitresses. So I'm not disparaging these jobs. I'm telling you to rise out of them. That anybody who's caught in themselves in a slave job, start a side hustle and start making money. Don't just earn the paycheck. Don't quit your slave job. Don't quit being an employee and just put up your shingle and like, okay, where's the money? No. You have to keep your slave job, keep your paycheck, use your paycheck for the benefits and your budget, so that you get put, like let's say you get paid $2,000 paid on the 1st and the 15th. And then on the 2nd and the 16th, you get your bills that come out of that. 1,500 here and 1,500 there. So you've got a profit margin for that month of 1,000 that you're supposed to apply to groceries. What you do is you get something like an LLC or an S Corp, and then you start writing and for your business. And now you can write off everything you buy, so that instead of that $1,000 being profit, that's going to go towards taxes. All of your money you end up spending on stuff that you need for your business, like your computer, you need that for your business. Your car, you need that for your business. Your clothes, their wardrobe or their uniform for your business. Your office supplies, which is everything you buy, is for your business. Like your CPAP. Well, you need all the medical things you do to keep yourself healthy. That's also tax write-offable, but you can do it through a business. Then what you do is you build yourself up and you build up your business over time. And eventually your side hustle is generating more income than your paycheck. And the paycheck's just there for the benefits, especially if you have a wife and kids, because you got to take care of them. But you see, the point is, once that side hustle gets so big, you don't need the day job, you don't need to be an employee, then you've truly actualized your potential. You've completely thrown off the shackles. No one tells you what to do. No one tells you where to be. You don't have to do what anyone tells you what to do. It might be in your best interest. You still need to have good judgment. You could say something horrible on social media that gets you canceled, and then that cuts off your ability to market your target audience. But you can do it. No one can fire you from your own job. You own your business. So that's the transition. That's my way of trying to help you throw off your shackles and lead you into a better life. Is everyone should take what they're good at, their talents, their passions, the things that they love, and turn it into a side hustle, and then use that as a tax shelter to protect you from being overtaxed. Because if you don't, you're just a slave to the machine, and it's like being in the Matrix. No joke. We watched a movie, only instead of BTUs, they're sucking out of you money that the tax system set up to rip off the hardworking people who aren't smart enough to see a way out. And so I'm showing you the way out. There's could be tons of videos about business, and I don't even consider myself a good business person, but I do know that I was a slave for a very short period of time. And then I started, I would say, 2009, where I started coaching bikini, and that was my side hustle. And soon my side hustle, coaching bikini, was making more money than my main hustle, working in a practice, making money for a hospital. That I could make more money coaching bikini than I could being a doctor. So I swapped. And then I could make more money as an employee designing supplements than I could coaching bikini. So I switched back. And then once I learned the business from the inside, I was like, I can make more money coaching online and reading blood work and opening my own supplement company than I can working for this douchebag. And then that's when things took off, and that's when I founded Valhalla Labs 10 years ago. And is it a big business? No. Does it turn a lot of money? No. But the coaching turned out to be pretty successful. So between having two businesses, I've been able to build myself up to the point where I could afford all this equipment to do this type of high quality podcasting. And that took 10 years. It took 10 years, but that 10 years was fucking worth it. And along the way, lots of good stuff happened, lots of bad stuff happened. But I learned how to be a better leader. I learned how to be a nicer person. I learned how to be a better coach. I learned how to be a better doctor. I learned how to be a better biochemist. I use every single thing I learned in school, from philosophy of Nietzsche to the psychology when coaching people, from all the anatomy and physiology of medicine for the purpose of bodybuilding, and all the biochemistry comes into play when reading blood work. You don't know how many talents you have until you're put to the test, but you have talents. For example, purple represents chaos, magic, and gold represents wealth. Together, it's royalty. And that's why kings and emperors used to have golden crowns and purple cloaks. So the liberal arts aren't worthless. It's not like STEM's the only thing. STEM classes are great because if you're conscientious and have a high IQ, you'll be a very valuable employee until some AI replaces you. But AI lacks something that we don't, and that's creativity. So stay ahead of the game and take your passions, turn them into passion projects, get good enough at them to where they're worth money, and then start charging. And then shelter yourself with an LLC or an S Corp. I'm not an expert at that part of the business. I have business experts for that. A smart lawyer that you trust or a business manager. There's people who actually know this stuff better than me. I've learned a little bit, but I don't feel comfortable enough talking about those things, just like I'm not going to give a lecture on dermatology. It's not a field of medicine I know very well. I know it well enough to know when someone's bullshitting me, but I know it well enough to where I'm like, okay, let's cure this skin cancer. You know, if I'm the only one, if it's like The Walking Dead, then yeah, I'll take care of your skin cancer. But I mean, if there's other doctors that are better at skin cancer than me, and there's better people who can tell you how to set up a business to shield yourself from taxes that are abusive. I mean, even right now, the president's trying to protect us from the tax law because it's just absurd. It's fucking absurd. That's the point of the tariffs. The point of the tariffs is to lower the income tax because the income tax has made it so that the standard of living is shit. There's no way to survive anymore unless you follow the advice here. So if you like this video, click subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notifications. Check out the rest of the psychology playlist. Confidence versus arrogance, the psychology of winning, is the most important one. How to build a cult was just for fun. Don't even worry about that. And if you give a shit about your health or your body, watch the most important shit playlist. Even if you're a woman, watch the blood work, the training, the nutrition. All right. I want you guys to take your shackles off. I want you guys to start pinning every day. Don't be afraid of GH. Fucking drop the short esters. Long esters are the only way. Just basic shit. Like, I'm putting up a guardrail on the cliff so you stop jumping off of it. Because to me, using Sustanon or using Test Probe every 3 days with a whole cc of Probe every 3 days is just like a lemming jumping off a cliff. You know it. You know it. You know you don't know what you're doing, and you know you're doing what everyone else is doing because they said so. That by definition makes you a slave. My friend told me we should start doing steroids, and I said, yeah, I don't really know enough about it. So I went to medical school. So I learned how to learn. And then I read the anabolics book, and then I cross-referenced it with other endocrinology to best understand how exactly it worked. As I taught myself exercise physiology and nutrition, and then I got myself ready to get myself shredded and big. And that's how I got into powerlifting, because I didn't know how to do the bench, squat, and deadlift. And those were skills. So I wanted to learn the skills from skilled technicians. Little did I know, the 3 powerlifting movements are the worst thing you can do for your physique. And they're divergent sport from bodybuilding. And then it set me way back. And then I got involved with bodybuilding coaches in 2009 who knew nothing and tried to convince me through charisma that doctors don't know shit and that bodybuilders have all the secrets. And it was all bro science bullshit. I was better at bodybuilding before I ever became a bodybuilder and got a coach. It took 5 or 6 years of going through coaches before I realized they're all con men. They were all full of shit. They all believed it, but they were just sheep trying to lead sheep. They weren't wolves. They had good intentions. They were just so dumb. They didn't know how dumb they were. They were in the bottom of the Dunning-Kruger effect. I was already over here. They pulled me backwards. And then once I figured out, fuck these idiots, I know more than they do, that's when things really started getting easy and life became good again. And now you get to get the benefits of it. So I'm going to let you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, share. Remember, check out Valhalla Labs for the best products in Midgard or any of the 9 realms. I'm available for coaching if you want help. I'm available for wellness, concierge wellness. If you need a doctor that you can call 24/7, it doesn't mean I'm going to answer, but you can call me. Can you text your doctor? No. Can you call your doctor? No. I don't want you to text me, but I do want you to call me. That's the thing, is you have access to me directly. If I try to make an appointment with my doctor, it's 3 months. I'm never going to see that fucker. I'll be dead before I see him. And because that's what health insurance is like. So health insurance is for the birds. Get me. It's the wellness package. If you just want to feel me out, get a consultation call and we'll figure out if we click or not and if I can actually even help you. And if you want blood work reviewed, get the blood work review. It's all on my website, toddleemd.com. Linktree is in the description box. May the force be with you. Great news. I am now partnered with Talon Wellness. Talon Wellness will be able to provide you your medication. So you get your consult with me. I will review the blood work you got through M&M Labs, and Talon will be the HRT clinic that will get you your medication delivered to your home. So there's nothing that changes on your part. All you do the same thing. You get the consult with me. Link is in the description box, and I take care of everything. It's just that now it is now a different HRT clinic, and the lab process is going to be even smoother. The prices will also be lower than they were with the previous HRT company. So this is all good for everyone. You'll love it. Click the link in the description box to set up your consult today, and on with the show.